It is finally here, the barbecue that I've been waiting for over 2 years. Of course, it's the Kamado Big Joe Konnected version. I've already been enjoying my Kamado Konnected Joe in the classic version, which means the regular size, but now I've got mine in the big size. And you know we all need it because we love to cook big pieces of meat. And therefore, I'm going to need the Big Joe. The one that will let me load up 80 kilograms or 160 pounds of pulled pork. So why am I so excited about this barbecue? Well, I'm going to tell you all about it. And unpacking it was just as easy. The assembly took about 20 minutes, and of course I needed some help to lift it up and put it in its cradle. One of the main features of the Kamado Big Joe, of course, is its smoke tower. If you look at this, you can remove the top cap, you can open the top vent all the way, and of course you can do that all together. And the good thing is that if you open up the lid, it will stay in the right position, so it won't fall open or switch in position like some barbecues do. It of course still has the analog thermometer that is very trustworthy. It will tell you the temperature, and of course you can calibrate it yourself. We have the trusty tables, which are super solid and which are super easy to fold in. The car's also really heavy duty, and even if you push it with the wheels locked, it's not really moving at all. With the locks off, it moves super easy over almost any surface. The lid has a spring, which means if you unlock it, you can open it up with one finger, and on the inside you will find a gasket out of stainless steel. That is going to make it super durable, and if you want to make pizzas, then this is your barbecue, because that gasket's not going to burn off and doesn't need replacing. As you can see, it's still super clean, and we need to do something about that real soon. On the inside you will find your stainless steel grill grates, the heat deflector, and underneath that there's the real secret. This is a heating ring that will ignite your charcoal by a push of a button, which means you never have to use a fire starter again, and you get a smokeless startup on your barbecue. Of course, you can just run it as a regular charcoal grill by just using the fence and a fire starter, so you can go analog every time you want to. So if somebody tells you it's not a real grill because it's electric, yes it is. You can go analog, but if you want to, you can also use a plug. I cook barbecue about 300 days out of the year, and let me tell you, more often than not, I will be using the plug for convenience, but also practicality, because I might want to walk away, do something else while the barbecue is cooking my food, and it just gives me so much more comfort and ease of mind that the barbecue is taking care of the temperature. As a standard, the Kamado comes with a cord that's about 1.5 meters long, but I recommend picking one up that's about 5 meters long. It just gives you more flexibility on where you want to put the barbecue, and if you just want to roll it out of sight or put it away and want to keep it plugged in, then that's possible. So get one of these. I plugged it in, and there's a switch on the back so you can actually turn it on. And the first thing that I'm going to do is actually turn it on. I'm going to go to my Kamado app, and as you can see, I have my Konnected Joe there. I'm going to add a device. We have the Pellet Joe, Konnected Joe, the Big Joe. So please hold the pairing button until you hear a long beep. Yes, and now the barbecue is searching for my phone, and it's just checking out to see if there's any other devices, and we're going to call it the Big Connect. And you see, it's all easy to set up. It just guides you through the whole thing, and now it says installation succeeded. Now I'm going to go into the app, and I'm going to set the temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius because I'm in the Netherlands. We have automatic firmware updates selected. It's great to control your temperature in this device with the controller on the barbecue, but it's also great if you can measure the core temperature of your meat and see it in the same app as the one that you're controlling your temperature with. Is that hard to do? Well, no, of course not. You're just going to take a thermometer, plug it in like that, and as you can see, we have 3 ports, so you can add 3 of those thermometers. You only get the first one for free. You just put it in wherever the meat is, close the lid, and the gasket has enough room for the wire to go through and move freely without letting any smoke or air escape. This screen right here is super convenient because of course you can see the temperature that you have inside your grill. You can have the temperature that you set it to. You can see the temperature of the meat probe. The next screen that you can have is the core temperature of the meat in which you put your probe. But the real cool feature is that you can have a chart that tells you the temperature inside the barbecue and the probe. That way you can actually follow your cook, which is really valuable. If you see something like that and the barbecue is still working, then you know you need to add more charcoal to your barbecue. One thing you always want to do is make sure that the lid lifts the way you like it personally. I like it when it's super smooth, and that means I'm just going to adjust the spring here a little bit. I don't want to be putting it down, but it's just so super satisfying. Unlock it, and then with one finger lift it up, and then it stays like that. For me, that's important. That lid needs to stay at all times in the position that I'll leave it in. See, like that. And that is just so super satisfying. Okay, I'm firing it up for the first time. And officially, you're gonna put some charcoal in and then put a fire starter in for the first time. I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to go against the manual. I want to be clear about that. That's not something I recommend doing, just follow the manual. But in our case, I want to show you how it works. So that's kind of important. We're going to put in a little bit of charcoal, and it gives me the opportunity to show you what happens at the bottom. So I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to hit the ignition button. See? Right there, the red button, that is going to ignite the charcoal just by the push of a button. That works always. Even if you just want to cook analog, you don't have to put that fire starter in, you don't have to turn on the control right here. I can switch this off. It works individual from the controller. And that flexibility makes this the best ceramic grill for the pros. And within 5 minutes you can see that it's red glowing hot under the charcoal, because the rest it can release its heat, but under the charcoal it's red glowing hot. We can see a little bit of smoke from the igniting charcoal. That is so super convenient. Just hit the button, your barbecue starts up. No matter if you're going analog or full digital, full in control. This is so cool. And then all you need to do, of course, is put the heat deflectors in, and that's how we're going to do our first burn-in. Close the lid, and now I'm actually going to switch it on, and I'm going to tell it what temperature I want to cook at. So I'm going to set it. It says close the lid all the way, and that's the case always. I'm going to set it to 180. I'm going to set it to 250 degrees Celsius. Open the top vent all the way, and now it's just going to raise up to the temperature. Even though we have so little charcoal, it's still going to work. With that fan, we're going to have it raging hot in no time at all. And then in 10 minutes, the barbecue is up to temperature. I don't know if you can notice, but you see that the color of the ceramic changed to a dark red. I can see a little bit of smoke coming off some places, and that's why we do a first burn-in. I want to burn off all the chemicals that are there from the factory and then start up with a clean cook. But there's one problem. I can't start cooking right now. I got a party to go to. And I'm back. It was a great party, I must say, honestly. And as I promised, I did some cooks in the meantime. I cooked an absolutely monstrous steak, the Tom and Jerry steak. And it didn't just come from anywhere. We cut up a special cow, cut a disc out of it, and then we had this beautiful Tom and Jerry steak that I smoked on the Kamado Big Joe Konnected Joe. But the Tom and Jerry steak made the Big Joe look really small, when in reality it was 25 kilograms, aka 50 pounds of meat. Now that's the biggest steak I've ever seen and cooked myself. So that was the first cook that I did. The second cook I'm actually doing right now, a golden brisket. Look at that. Again, a monster sized piece of meat. And it is a challenge for normal grills, because I had the idea of cooking that brisket on a different barbecue, and it didn't work out. I had to use the Kamado Big Joe because of its size, and the Konnected Big Joe will just take care of its job. This is probably going to be a long cook. I hope I get it finished today. It is so big, and the steak already took so long with 25 kilograms. With this monster, I don't know. I think it'll be here a long time. But what it comes down to is we got some amazing cooks. We had some amazing results already with the Kamado Konnected Joe. More content on it is coming. Go check it out at your local dealer. And in the meantime, keep checking the videos. See you guys in the next one. Cheers.